Hey guys, here we are. We're gonna go over and we're gonna break down now the next week of programming. So we're just coming off of a rest week now. And by the way, I wanna welcome everyone. It's our boy, Coach TJ.
What's up, guys?
It's fucking head coach right here, bro. He's the man with the plan. He's the man behind the beauty and the madness. All right? So we're going to be going into and we'll just break this down. So if you watched the previous video where I broke down the whole 12-week cycle that we're going to be going into, this is going to be right in line with that. So I would recommend go back and watch that video because it'll make this make way more sense and put everything into context. All right? So let's see here. Let's get some colors going. So so remember, we're in an Olympic year right now. So that's year 4. So we're in year 4. We're going to be going into quarter 3. So if you remember, year 4 is a peak year. And then quarter 3 would be a
prep, build.
We're in the build quarter, okay? And if you remember when we broke down the 12-week cycle, again, in the previous video, we're going to be going into week 1, which is a rest week inside of a prep phase. So year 4, peak year, quarter 3, and this is week 1, okay? And the average for that week is, it's 2-1-2 is the average for the week. So we'll write that here. 2-1-2. And you remember, this first number is the volume. The middle number is
Intensity.
Density. The last number
is the intensity.
Intensity, cool. So 2 volume, and then we got 1 density, and then 2 out of 5 intensity. All right, so that's the average for the week. So now we're gonna break down, basically outline all the days of the week, and then we'll break down the week as a whole. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, and then I'm gonna have you now go through and break down the week. And you can pick these colors, whatever colors you want.
Go blue. All right, so as we get into the week itself, the weeks themselves, as you guys may already know, may not, are broken down into the different phases as well. So the first 2 days, we typically denote as prep days. Right?
Yeah, so I think normally maybe do the first day. So I think one question that we can start with here is like, what day on this program? Well, I guess let's backtrack one step here. What is this going to be? We're a 5-day template. So we're going to be creating a 5-day template. Right. And then we're also going to show you how then that breaks down into the 4-day and the 3-day template.
Right.
So in the 5-day template, I guess, yeah, well, let's take a couple steps back because we also need to figure out, which we've already kind of decided, but as we're just working through this here, what is the ultimate result of this cycle that we're going into? So, it's an Olympic year, like we're heading literally right into the Olympics. So what do we want? We want to make sure our total is as high as it can be. We want to increase our total, okay? So we want to increase the amount that we can snatch and clean and jerk. So how are we going to test that? How are we going to know if we are improving? And what should we call the kind of the result of the 12-week program? Like something that can be kind of across the board. Like the previous one was to have everyone increase their total by 5%. Would we want to just roll with the same thing, or do you think maybe like a variation of that?
I think something similar, because ultimately if we're, the goal is to ultimately maximize performance. The goal then is to I mean, you could do it by a specific number of kilos, but I think percentage-wise just makes a little bit more sense. So we can do another percentage, I think. That's fine.
So if we're looking at, so if we say 5%, that'd be like, if your total is 100 kilos, then we take up to 105. And I mean, I think in 12 weeks, I think that's a pretty
doable,
reasonable, yeah. It's like the thing with the goals, and like I've had to learn this, and I'm still learning this, is like you want it to be attainable, even though yes, you're trying to you don't want to just cut yourself short. You want to set good goals for yourself, but having them like in the realm of comfortability. I used to shoot so far outside of that, and then I'd ultimately set myself up for failure. And I was always like, well, if I shoot for the stars, at least I'll land on the moon kind of thing. And I think as a whole, that's what we want, because like we're leaning into like the brink of what we think is possible for ourselves, and hopefully even beyond that, because we're allowing ourselves to open up to the potential that we really have. But within that, as we're working through the system, it's nice having those kind of more clean-cut numbers to work with, especially for the more kind of logical, like mathematical type of people like me. That's what I like, having, being able to see like numbers like, yo, this went up, this did that. So, all that being said, I think 5% sounds great.
And he makes a good point, specifically for the people that you like the numbers and like to see the numerical, like very logical values increase. For people like me that are more based on like things feeling good, either way, you will probably see, right, after 12 weeks, your form increase in terms of your mobility, your technique feeling a little better. Because for me, like I said, whether or not my actual numbers go up is important, of course, but also feeling comfort, feeling consistency with technique, feeling like the way I'm training is like getting more consistent, right? Because you can obviously, if we train 5 days a week, there's gonna be times, days, parts of the week where like things maybe aren't things may feel different from day to day, but as you do it, as you get better at what you're doing, as you get stronger, you'll see that you'll be able to hit those higher numbers more consistently, as you've seen, obviously, for myself here as of late. But yeah, so having that different sides of the same coin will allow us to ultimately, things will feel better, and you'll be able to see very clear growth as well, which is what we want. We want both of those things at the same time. So
beautiful. So if we're going off of the end of the result for this next 12 weeks is we want everyone to increase their total 5%. And by the way, what we're going to be going through over this next quarter, because just like how we're presenting this, there's a lot more educational. There's just a lot coming your way, but not in the sense that you're gonna have to do a lot of shit, but in the sense like we're gonna help you really fine tune your own program. And really be able to customize, because basically this is the template, and I kind of explained this in the last video. This is the template, but we're ultimately going to show you how to be able to take your specific numbers and create even more specific goals for you. But obviously, as we're working with the template, the kind of the goal is just a theme that we're looking for all around. But the specific goal may be different person to person. So if we're going off of 5% increase total, how often do we want to measure that metric? How often would be reasonable? The 1 week?
Say once a week.
Okay, so it's like we're gonna have a test. We're gonna test basically the KPI, the key performance indicator, which would be the total. We're gonna test the total once a week, okay? So what day are we going to have that test?
Typically we do Saturday.
Yeah, right. Typically Saturday, day 6. So I like to kind of circle it, but I mean, just whatever helps you remember, that's test. And then you write test. All right, perfect. So we know that if this is the test day, then this is where we really want to peak for the week. So then so what days would we do for the peak period of this week?
I would say leading up to the test, so probably, if not 5 and 6, 4, 5 and 6.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, I've been doing like 4, 5, and 6. It seems to work out pretty well, because day 4 is that's a Thursday, which is usually rest day for most people.
Sure.
So that's the peak, and then so 7, that'd just be like that's the straight rest period, and then so obviously we got 3 days here, and we got a prep and a build. So do we want the build to be 2 days, the prep to be 1, or do we want prep to be 2 days?
Prep 1, build 2 sounds good.
Cool,
because then you spend 1 day getting your body ready for the week, and then the build is a little bit longer, which allows you to flow into the peak, I think, a little bit more smoothly.
Yeah, I like that. That's kind of how we've been rolling, so it seems to be working pretty well.
Prep. Yeah, we'll
those 2 days.
Go build. Oops.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So we've broken down our phases for the week. And so now, I mean, we can just, let's break down the average for each of these periods. So the average is 2, 1, 2. So we'll let you break that down there, champ.
Right.
Right. We got our rule book over here.
Oh, yep. Yeah, there we go. Cheat sheets.
Cheat sheet.
Cheat sheet. It's always good. So as you guys can see, we're going to the prep first. The average is 2, 1, 2. We're going to increase the volume and the density and decrease the intensity.
There it is.
So it's going to take us from 2, 1, 2 to a, where should I write this? Off to the side, maybe?
Yeah, you can, I usually kind of write it like, off to the side of the number, or where, somewhere around the bracket.
3, 2.
We got our 3, 2, 1. All right, baby.
Awesome.
All right.
We go to build next. Build is the average. So nothing changes there. So for the build, we're going to go for that 2, 1, 2.
There it is, 2, 1, 2.
Okay. Peak, we are going to decrease the volume, decrease the density, but increase the intensity.
All right.
So that means we're going to end up at a 1.
Yeah, can't go below 1.
So we'll stay at 1, and then a 3.
There it is, 1, 1, 3.
Perfect.
And then the rest.
Rest is just down, down, down for all across the board, down by 2. So it's going to be 1, 1, 1.
There it is.
And basically what that just means is, obviously there's nothing probably programmed for you, but if you did plan to do something, if you just had to, just you're fainting and you want to get to the gym, you want to move your body, it's going to be extremely low intensity, low volume, low density, just moving at a very baseline, very minimalist, just to kind of keep that blood flowing, keep that recovery process.
Let's go for a walk, bro.
Yeah, literally.
All right, cool. So we got this broken down. So now we need to decide what the other days are going to be. And in the last video, I broke down I called it the specificity prioritization chart. Very technical terms.
Yes.
But we already have the test. So what would be the next day that we'd be looking for in the specificity prioritization?
Right. So the top, how I like to think about it is, and we've talked about this in the past, right, the main thing we're looking for is the test. That's the number one metric. So like if you didn't do anything else, if you didn't have any other qualities or factors in your programming, testing, the snatch, and clean and jerk is going to be like, because no matter what, you're going to get better at doing it by just doing it, right? But there's going to be the 3 main pillars. So the next one, aside from the test, going forward would be the weakness.
Yes.
Right?
Weakness.
Right. Weakness. So we're going to start the week off with a weakness because that allows us to flow into the rest of the week and kind of build on that. All right. So we start off by reaching those things, addressing those things that are going to make those weak points stronger for the lifts. And then we go from there. So we start with that prep day being, right, having some weakness in that prep day.
Just like weakness. Yep. So just kind of write the days out.
Gotcha. Under or right into the side?
I mean, either way. I mean, you kind of wrote under here. So
we'll just do this.
Yeah, just wherever.
Cool.
All right. So that's weakness. So that's 2 days. So now the third day to continue.
So that third of the top 3, the most important test, weakness. The third one is going to be strength, right?
It is.
Because strength, obviously, it's a strength sport, right? Your technique, those things are obviously probably the most important, but your strength is going to be that very next variable that's going to allow you to see your numbers go up. Because no matter what happens, even if your technique stayed the same, if you get stronger, right, your numbers are going to go up no matter what. If your legs get stronger, right, if your back gets stronger, if you get strong overall, your numbers are going to go up even if your technique does not change at all. So that's that third of those top 3 important pillars for you. So we're going with that for day 3.
There it is.
Whoop. Cool.
Okay. So now it's a 5-day template. So
let's go over a little bit. Let's not get into day 4.
5-day template. So you got 3 days. So now on what would the 4th day be?
Right. So the next piece, because obviously we have a 5, a 4, and a 3. So if you're on a 3-day template, these are going to be your main 3. Like that's your bread and butter. Those are the things that you're still going to see progress.
Meat and potatoes.
If you have these 3 days, all right, and consistently training, keeping those elements, you're going to see progress. Guaranteed, as long as you're consistent and you're taking care of the other variables in your life, obviously your nutrition, your recovery, all those things. All right, to go the next step then, as we go into this 5 days we're starting off with, would be that specific, right?
Accessory.
Accessory, is the 4? Okay.
Yeah, because basically like the thought process behind that is when you're doing this stuff, kind of the next thing that you would want to make a priority is like doing the things that are going to hold you together so that you can keep doing this stuff.
And hopefully that makes sense, right? Because specific where I was going with it, which is also a fair line to think, is specific is going to be those more technical drills that are going to help lock in your technique a little bit more. But Nate's right, and I do agree that accessories are going to help some of those imbalances that you might have, right? Let's say like one leg or one hip's a little tighter, one was a little looser, one side's a little bit more dominant. Like we want to, obviously you're doing the lifts, everything's happening at the same time. You can't kind of decide which side's, taking more of the load on. So making sure that those accessory movements are solid is going to be very beneficial as well. So I think either way, but accessories, that's a good way to think about it as well. So accessory, we'll call that Friday.
Yep, day 5, cool.
We're just gonna do ACC.
Perfect. So now,
then specific would then be that for that 5th one, which again is gonna be more, it's pretty much again, it's focusing on that technique and trying to help those things improve.
All right, perfect. So now we can kind of go through and day 4 and day 7 will be rest.
I'll just give you a big R.
Cool.
Big R.
And then we can go through now and we can, the prep one's easy because it's just 1 day, so that'll be the number for the day, but now we need to identify the number for each day. So the prep's already taken care of, so day 2, so the average for this little build, this little building phase within the week.
Building block.
Is a 2-1-2.
Right.
So do you remember how to go? This one's kind of like you just kind of, again, once you get to this point is more of where the experience and just the overall coaching knowledge and intuition comes in.
Right.
But like typically for me, I would usually take call day 2, like the average day. So I would do like a 2-1-2, and then I would do I'd make this more of like a peak day within the build. So it'd be like a 2-1-2, and then it'd be a 1-1-3 kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Makes sense.
So yeah, so go ahead. I like to write those kind of somewhere.
Specifically?
Just to, yeah.
So we'll just do...
Because that's going to inform what we do for the day. All right. And then the peak, so we got 3 days here. So this is already a rest day. So the mesh is going to be 1-1-3.
Yeah.
Or 1-1-1.
Talking about for the rest.
The average is 1-1-3. So the rest will just go down, down, down. All right. And then the accessory, I treat more like a peak or a prep kind of thing. So then it would be, we do the prep rules.
2-2-2.
Yep. And then the test would be the peak.
Obviously 1-1-4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and then rest is just rest.
Yep.
Cool.
So we already got that.
Yeah. All right, so now, let me see right here. Perfect. So now, shit's pretty simple now. So we're gonna break down each of the day to see what's gonna be in each one of these days now. And we already have the average for the day, so that's what we have to work with. So on the prep day, it's a 3-2-1, so that we're gonna have 3 exercises. So it's a weakness day. So what would you think? We got 3 exercises on a weakness day.
Yeah.
How would we want to use those?
I think it just depends. My line of reasoning, which obviously we can kind of talk through it. But obviously weakness, I would say obviously at least 1 weakness exercise. All right. If not 2, and then maybe either like technique or maybe like technical weakness strength, something like that. All right. Or weakness strength. Especially with the 3-day is what I'm thinking. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the technique, and then weakness. I think that'd be fine. Because again, like we're just coming off a week off, so just kind of do a little technique primer.
So we'll go tech, and then weakness, and then another weakness.
All right, and then let's we'll just go ahead. So let's allocate the numbers. So
actually, look at these arrows too. So we have space.
Yeah.
Skirt.
Okay. Yeah. So this is it for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. So we're at a 3, 2, 1. So remember, the easiest thing to do is just to bring that number all the way through. But this is one of those cases where I'd say like a 1 intensity, like we're probably going to want to do a little more than that. So that's where I'd say like maybe we can make this a 2 and we could do like a 3, 1, 2 kind of deal. So like 3 sets of 1 at a 2. Because as a general rule of thumb, we want to keep the same total number, and only if we're going to adjust it, only adjust by 1, going whatever up or down. Okay. So yeah, we'll make the technique 3, 1, 2. And basically we'll just make them all 3, 1, 2.
Different color.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got colors, bro. Get what you need.
You said 3, 1, 2?
Yeah. Cool. And then same thing, weakness. We'll just keep the 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
Whoops.
Whoopsies. All right. Perfect. Cool. So let's just go ahead and figure out what exercises now. So technique.
So what do you think of tech? Give me an example.
So, I touched on this in the last video, but technically, like almost anything can be anything. But I would be thinking, because sometimes I also think of these more of like the intention behind it too. I think it can go that way as well. But I would say overall technique, I mean, again, you're just kind of thinking as a coach. So you're just coming off of a week off. You probably haven't really done shit. So you're not going to want to do anything too crazy. I don't know, it's like maybe some like snatch balance. That's just kind of was,
Snatch balance. We love snatch balance. We love snatch balance.
It's kind of open you up a little bit, get your body primed.
It's a very effective exercise. You're hitting a lot of things. Oh, it's too big. It's
too big, bro.
It's gonna bleed into the next day, son of a gun.
Be like that.
We're gonna go snatch bow.
Snatch bow. All right, and then that's gonna be, so we'll just do a 3 sets of 1 at a 2.
3 by 1 at 2.
Boom, baby. All right, next weakness. TBH, bro, like, just fucking do a jerk. There it is.
We're gonna block it from the racks.
Just put jerk, and then I kind of like, when it's just jerk, then I kind of leave it open to interpretation. So you hear that? So now we're explaining. If it just says jerk,
where do you want to jerk
then from? You can jerk from whatever you want to jerk from, buddy.
3 by 1 at a 2.
All right. So we got a snatch balance. We got a jerk. I don't know. I'm feeling some kind of pull.
Okay. So like a snatch pull.
Well, let's do a clean pull, because we kind of done it. We did a little snatch work. We did a little jerk work.
I like it.
We'll clean it up with some clean.
I do like it, brother.
So a little clean pull. Fuck it.
2.
All right, perfect. So that's day 1 for you, y'all. Let's keep this party rolling.
Cool. We're gonna divide
Specific.
this day so we don't bleed over.
Ooh. There it is. We're not gonna mistake that now.
Skirt.
Okay, day 2. Specific.
Blue one again.
So it's a 2-1-2 day.
Only
So
2 exercises.
2 exercises, and it's specific. So we're basically going to be doing the very specific thing that we're going to be testing. So
That means it's pretty much a test day at a lower intensity. So when we get to these specific days, we're not necessarily looking for you to max it out. We're not quite testing it in that we're seeing how heavily you can go like a test day, but we are doing those same movements to kind of like more so hone in the technique, have you feeling good, prime you up essentially, right? So you hit those snatch and clean and jerks, for example, because that's what we're focusing on right now. On Tuesday, by Saturday, wherever test day is, you're definitely going to be like, it's time to go. It's time to find out. You know what I mean? All right, so we're going to go ahead and just we'll just do. Where's my? Okay, we'll just go specific.
specific.
And specific.
There it is, baby.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, then we can keep that 2-1-2 action.
Here.
I think that'll be chill.
I agree. 2-1-2.
So it's at a 2 intensity. It's a 2 out of 5 intensity. So one way you could think about that, like for me, I would think of a 1 as you're pretty much doing bar work. Like it's just super light, super technical. Well, I take that back. I created percentages for the intensity. So while you're writing that out, let me just go ahead and write up that because I do remember that now. So here, I'll write it right here. So intensity. So a 1 would equal, let me start with 5. 3, 4, 5. So 5 would be 90 to 100% plus. A 4 would be 80 to 90%. A 3 would be 70 to 80%. A 2 would be 60 to 70%, and a 1 would be 60 or below. Yeah, so a 2, if you wanted some kind of percentage, you're looking at between 60 and 70%. Now keep in mind, when the density is up, so that we're just doing singles right here. This is just 2 sets of 1, so that would be true. When the density increases, as just a general rule of thumb, if the density increases, every point the density increases, the percentage drops by 5, as a general rule. So just as an example, if this was, make sure I'm not, okay, we're almost gonna restart it here in a sec. If this was a 2-2-2, then I would say then that intensity would go down to like 55 to 65%, because we're going down 5% from the 2. So again, it's really more of a feeling, but I know some people like to have more specific numbers, and it can be helpful. So this would be a little thing that you can use. I'm gonna restart this.
Okay.
Cool. So hang on. If you need to take a picture of that, take a picture of that. Boom.
Think of this, everyone. You guys probably have heard. There's a bunch of different ways to measure intensity, measure exertion. There's RPE, there's percentages, things like this. Is just our version of that, which allows us to, really you guys, like more than it's for us, it's for you all to have, again, like he was saying, more of a feel and try to get just a little bit more specific, because obviously you can do a scale from 1 to 10, and that's fine, but this kind of adds a little bit more value because you're moving in smaller increments, honestly, then it allows it to flow into the overall theme of what we're going for either the day or the week or the quarter, you know what I mean? So use these numbers to help you kind of like fall in line to, okay, what's the theme for the day versus like, what's this exercise? Like, it's all goes from exercise to day to week. It kind of builds itself out. So try to just feel into it one exercise/day at a time.
Cool. I guess while it's, because you were sharing that, or it kind of, brought something to my awareness that I wanted to share. So just overall, like, as the program as a whole, just something to remember as like a principle is this is a template, and essentially this is like the super ultra no bullshit version of this is what you got to do. So that's why, like, if you just did this, like, you're hitting the biggest rocks that you could possibly hit when it comes to maximizing your training. Because again, the goal of training isn't just to do a bunch of shit just for the sake of doing a bunch of shit. The goal of training, we're actually trying to get better at something. There's something that we're specifically training for. And as we've identified, we're specifically training to increase the Olympic lifting total, increase your numbers. And one of the things behind that too is that picking that metric, because when you get better with the Olympic lifts, inevitably a lot of things are going to end up improving as a result of you improving that. So for me personally, and that's kind of just as we've decided as a team, even if your goal isn't necessarily to increase your Olympic lifting total, you just want to get overall healthier and stronger and feel good and look good, having that as a goal is still going to take you in that direction. And on the other side of that, and being mindful of that, this is like the primary work. But if you feel like you want to add extra, to do more, one, ask yourself why. Again, do you feel like you just need to be doing something for the sake of doing something? Which is why it's really important as we get more and more into this of like tracking the numbers. Because that way we have a kind of a bypass for the emotions if we need to. Because we can just look at, here's the fucking numbers. Like, are your extra training sessions, because you feel like you're not doing enough, is that working for you? Because again, this is the stimulus. And so we want to, on the other side of the training, we need to maximize the recovery, because that's where you actually get stronger. You don't get stronger in the gym. The gym is the stimulus so that you can go home and you can sleep and you can eat and you can meditate and you can go for walks out in nature so you can recover, so that you can adapt to the stimulus and ideally be stronger the next time. But you don't need to do any more than that. And that's, I think, can be a hard thing for me, is why I'm telling this, because I'm learning this. But I think a lot of us can relate to that, because we feel like we just got to do a bunch of shit just to do a bunch of shit. Same thing in life. Like, doing a bunch of shit doesn't always mean you're actually getting a lot of progress. Sometimes doing a bunch of shit is actually making things slower. Sometimes doing the least amount that you can do is how you make the most amount of progress that you could be making. And so that's what we're doing. So day 3, baby.
Even to piggyback off that before we go into the next day, it's perfect, because ultimately, again, more is not always better. If you're pounding yourself into submission, if you're just trying to do more, trying to get more out of your body than what you can sustain, especially because, a lot of us have lives and jobs and families. You got to look at how this all, right? If this is your foundation, this is your rock, right? That needs to be something that you can commit to, that you're going to be able to do every single day or every day that you're supposed to show up and do it. But if you do too much and you put yourself in a hole, or you're not managing your life outside the gym, then it's going to compromise everything else. So it would be better to do, right, like your 3 days, if you're on a 3-day program, or your 4 days, or your 5 days, which is like training 5 days consistently is already a lot. Training 5 days every week is already a really huge commitment. So again, like you said, asking yourself why. If you just need to do something, right, like ask yourself, well, what can I do aside from really like beating myself down with some training? It's all about balance, because you're ultimately like, this all is about everything. It's not just about, yes, the training program is meant to help you increase your total, but we are trying to overall help you become better at living your life, which is beyond, again, just the gym. It's like, okay, well, what are your relationships like? What's your relationship with yourself like? What's your like confidence level? What is the love that you feel? All of it. So we make sure that all of that is flowing in a way that's sustainable, that you can continue to show up for. Because again, we wouldn't want you to show up at the gym every day if you show up and you're miserable and like you hate your life and you're like dragging yourself through the workouts. Like, we want you to be excited. We want it to be fun. Like, we have fun. We do this and we enjoy it. We enjoy being around each other. We look forward to it versus it being something that we have to do. We get to do it. It's a privilege. It's a blessing to be able to do it. So again, just keep those things in mind. Yeah, going on to day 3, strength day. As you can see, with being inside of this building portion, right, of the week, the second day of the build is a 1-1-3. Okay, 1 means we only have 1 exercise. It's going to be only for, right, density is only going to be for 1. So that means only 1 set. So, and then the intensity is going to be about 3, which, as we can see, is about 70 to 80%. So 1 set, like moderately heavy, not like maxing out, but like you're going to feel it. It should be at least somewhat challenging. And then we look at strength exercises. If you had to do just 1 bang for your buck exercise, I think we're probably on the same page. But like, what do you think?
I was thinking a front squat.
Squat. I said, so yeah, either back or front, but front squats, yes.
Yeah. This is, I guess, slightly more specific. Because
for sure,
as a rule of thumb, when there's the less of the amount of things, then the more specific you want to be with those things. So if we only have 1 strength exercise, then we have to decide, well, what is the most specific, what's going to give us the best results if we're just doing this one thing. And that principle of, identifying what's the one most important thing just comes up over and over again with this.
I don't want to go that I was using. This one. I messed my colors up.
Oh, no, it was I think that one on the left over there.
Gun.
Tough.
This guy.
Too many colors.
This guy.
Too many choices.
Freaking rainbow over here. There we go.
And that's a 1 set of 1 at 3, baby. There it is. Day 3, front squat. Okay. Day 4 is just a rest, so you're just resting there. And then, so this would day 4. If we were to add a 6th day, I think I touched on this somewhere else, but if we were to add a 6th day, this day 4 would then turn into just a technique day. Is how we would go about that. But we're just going to rest. Okay. And now accessory day. So it's a 2-2-2. So there's just 2 blocks. And this is where we kind of can think for a minute, because okay, we've done a jerk, we've done a clean pull. Okay, well, we did a snatch and a clean and jerk on the 5-day template. So basically, we have to decide here if we want to just do like accessory, or if we want to do like some kind of technique and then 1 accessory.
Oh yeah. I would say personally, I think either one would be effective. I mean,
yeah,
either one's good. I mean, you can do 2 at this point, right? Like, especially in a 5-day template, they've done technique already, right? They've done weakness, specific, strength. I think you could definitely add an extra technique, but 2 accessories. I think because at that point, like, we're leading into the test day, and we've already done all this work addressing a couple of the maybe asymmetries that we might have. Might be good,
yeah.
But or you could do like a bang for your buck type of accessory or a superset. Call the accessory a superset. So maybe you're like, for example, if you had like some lunges, multi-directional lunges, you're addressing a lot of different asymmetries right there. Like whether it's like quads, glutes, hips, right? Like lateral glutes, things like that. Like that's 1 exercise.
Yeah.
And if you supersetted that with like check press or like something with the core, or what I mean, like that's 1 accessory right there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think that thing would be cool, like accessory, especially because we just had a week off. So maybe some kind of like big bang superset, and then maybe some kind of like conditioning kind of thing. Okay. Just kind of get the heart rate up a little bit.
So we're gonna do a big bang superset right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'd be we can probably keep the 2-2-2.
Okay.
So I think multi-directional lunges are good. Okay. And then maybe we could do like what about med ball side toss? like some kind of rotation, and that kind of, you know, gets you moving a little bit.
Lunge plus med ball toss.
Yeah, med ball side toss. And so you see like kind of our thought process a little bit, especially when it comes to accessories and things like that. Like we're looking at, you know, what are the primary movements that have not been touched upon? Because, you know, as you know, strength training will, you know, specifically weightlifting is very, you know, front and back, which is like, it's called the sagittal plane. Sagittal plane is front and back. And so, you know, your body's obviously not meant to just move front and back. So if you don't move in the other directions, you know, what you know, like the old saying, if you don't use it, you lose it kind of thing. So if you don't move in those other directions, you kind of start to lose capacity with those other movements, which then starts to actually hinder your ability to do the thing that you're trying to get better at. Hence, you know, the point of accessories is to keep your body, you know, keep yourself at a high capacity in all those other areas that aren't touched on through the main training, so that you can keep doing the main training. All right, so yeah, so we got a multi-directional lunge, which is a lunge pattern plus, you know, hitting all the different planes of motion, and then a med ball side toss, a little bit more explosion, and you got some rotation in there. Okay, so we're superset that, and so remember, as a rule of thumb, which again, like, it's just a rule of thumb, we can break these if we want to break them, but technically we would just do one set of, and we'd probably double the 2. We talked about that at the other video with the density. You can double it. So that'd be 4, which the multi-directional lunge, I would just call that 1 round at that point. So that'd be 1 set of 1 round, and that'd be 1 set of 4 with the 4 per side of the med ball toss.
Try 2 times.
Yeah, well, and then this one will be 1 round. So 1 round, 1 time, all the way around the circle with the med ball toss. Cool.
Well, it's bleeding over.
Whoops.
Whoops. 1 round.
All right, perfect. So, and then we'll have another accessory. So that's accessory 1. Then we'll do accessory 2. So we made this a 2-2-2. So let's maybe let's make this a 1-4. A 1-4-1. No, that's too much. So go a 2. Oh, I did 3. I made a 3. So let's go a 2-3-1. Because we'll increase the density a little bit. So let's do, what would you say, some kind of, so what we can do with a 3, I have that here. So a 3 would be between 1:30 and 3 minutes. So we could do like 2 sets of a minute, like 2 sets of 2 minutes on something. What would you insert in there, some kind of conditioning?
I would say you can do something for 2 minutes straight. I mean, the rower for 2 minutes at a high intensity is gonna probably cook you, or a run. I think the rower, because the only thing with running is like you're gonna test the next day, snatch, clean, jerk. Running is gonna probably tire the legs out a little more than the rower will. And the rower is a very like full body exercise as well, driving with the legs, using the core. Gonna honestly probably keep you a little primed for that test the next day with the snatch, clean, jerk. So cool. I said the rower.
Yeah, rower.
Cool.
So 2 sets of 2 minutes, and we'll just call it a 30-second or a minute rest.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, cool. So two sets, 2 minutes, 30-second rest. Overall, 1 intensity. So, you know, you're not like booking it, but, you know, you still do enough to get your heart rate up, get yourself moving.
30-second rest.
And another little thing that I want to share is when it comes to the day, so, you know, just like how we give ourselves permission to go like up 1, -1 for the whole day. If it comes to the exercise too, like you can do the same thing. You could be like, well, you know, like for instance on the specific day over here on the snatch, where it's like, you know what, like this feels really easy. Like I feel like I want to do a little more. Then you could bump that up to like a 3 if you wanted to. I wouldn't go any more than 1. You obviously don't want to turn a 2 into a max out session. But you can kind of increase that 1, or if it was at a 4, you can go to 5, and it can work the other way too. If you're feeling like complete shit, you can go down 1. You can go from a 3 to 2, or even a 2 from a 1. So you can give yourself that leeway with the different numbers of a plus or minus 1, depending on how you're feeling.
Like he said, this is like the rough, like bare bones, meat and potatoes template, but ultimately as you go, you'll gain the confidence to adjust your program, like within the parameters of what we have going on, like, but to like what's going to suit you, what's going to be more specific, because not everyone has the same weaknesses, not everyone has the same, you know, like struggles. We have to figure out basically what's going to allow you to maximize your skills and address things that you need to address, all while accounting for the life shit that you have going on at the same time.
Cool. Last day, baby.
Last piece.
Day 6, test day.
Peace.
So this is a rest a week, and it's only a 1 here. So do we want to, you know, because do we want to go to 2? And like, you know, you could make it a 2, 1, 3, or you could just do the 1 exercise.
Nah.
Yeah, all right.
Nah. We gotta do both.
Doing both. Test.
Because you're never gonna, I mean, there's time to do 1. But it's competition, you gotta do them both.
Yep.
You gotta do them both. And we're gonna do.
So make that 2, 1, 3.
Cool.
Snatch, clean, and jerk, baby.
Snatchaholic mixtape.
There it is. Could you guess what we're doing? Boom.
Yep. Oh yeah. So we'll just do 2.
Oh yeah, 2 by 1 at 3. Perfect.
Both.
For both. Cool. So there it is, yo. So this is week 1. And remember, if you're, and obviously we'll have this in the Train Heroics. You don't have to like, you know, take a screenshot or even remember any of this. But we wanted to break everything down for you so you can see our thought process. You can see kind of what the focus is. And like I said, remember, this is a, you know, we just came off a rest, but this is like a rest week. So it's kind of more of a, I think of it more as like a warm-up week. Just kind of get things primed, get things moving again. And then like, when things don't feel like you're doing a lot, I've learned to embrace that. Because before you know it, then you're like, holy shit, it feels like I'm doing too much now. So kind of got to learn to ride the waves here. And like the times where it seems more of a lull, where not a lot's happening, that's just the preparation to get us ready for where we're trying to go. But if you try to, you know, feel like you got to do more and you start jumping the gun, or if we, you know, have a rest week and you just decide to work out every day on the rest week, and then you start to, you know, basically overtax your body. And then when we actually get to the heavy shit, when we actually get to the shit where it's like, okay, now we're really pushing it, you didn't take the rest that you maybe needed to be able to maximize that. So ride the waves with us. And that's why we wanted to kind of break everything down so you can see the principles and see the reasoning behind everything. All right? So I hope this was helpful, and we'll talk to you again next week.
See y'all later. Take care.
Journey is the way, baby.